So we left our campsite this morning and took about a 45-minute drive through the rural countryside, headed to our next destination, which is the high Tatras, which is the mountain region along the border of Poland and Slovakia. Now, as we got closer, the mountains are beautiful, but unfortunately, the tops of them are covered by some clouds today. We had an initial plan of going up to a ski lift and taking the lift up and walking around on top of these mountains. But to be honest, it's kind of pricey, so with the weather not being good, we skipped that. And then we were gonna head to the next town where we had a really cool restaurant picked out. But the parking situation in this part of Slovakia is just really, really bad. So then we came to the next spot that we had spotted, and we've drove around this little area. It's like a ski resort town with tons of parking, most of it closed. But every once in a while we find a place where it says camper vans are allowed. And get this, just to literally park on the side of the road, they want 50 euros for a day to park on the side of the road. So what that tells me is the high Tatras, they don't want us here for very long.
They don't want us here.
So my vote is we drive on out of here. If we find a place on the side of the road where we can pop up the drone or something and let you guys get a look at it. But we're not staying here. $50 a day is ridiculous. If you watched our last video, you know that Slovakia was not off to a good start. I'm gonna say they're still not off to a good start.
No, I mean, all this area up through here with beautiful forest land is all super resorty. And when you get to a town, they're all pretty much cordoned off, and just to park to go to a restaurant is the same as parking. They want $50 to park. And so it's like a surcharge to come to this area. And it looks like there's some beautiful nature. We just can't get to it.
No. We would pay $10 to park, and for overnight we'd pay $20, but to literally park on the side of the road, $50 is ridiculous. Not good, Slovakia. Not good at all.
The shame.
We managed to find a spot that we could pull off on the side of the road and not get charged $50 long enough to regroup. We have two options that we're going to check out down the road for places where maybe we could just spend the night. And I told you we'd considered the ski lift, but that it was too pricey. I don't remember exactly, but just to give y'all a gauge, there's two levels. You can go halfway up the mountain or all the way up the mountain. For two people to go all the way up the mountain is supposed to be like 100 euros, which is ridiculous. And then halfway up, I think, was close to 50, right, Kurt?
Yeah.
If the video we watched was correct. But to give you a comparison, when we took the ski lift up to the Shepherd's High Plains area in Slovenia, I think it was like 20 bucks for both of us.
Yeah.
Way more reasonable. So we're moving on from the high Tatras. Gonna go try to find somewhere a little more welcoming.
Good morning, everyone. We found a place to park the van, and it has been difficult here in Slovakia, but we found a nice spot right here on this beautiful lake. And you can't see it today because of all the clouds, but in the backdrop there's some mountains. And it turns out we met some really, really super cool people from Slovakia, and they actually rented a couple vans and they stayed here last night as well. And so we chatted with them and they gave us some tips on Slovakia. They also kind of helped us crack the code on some of the other stuff that had already happened to us. So fingers crossed. Our time here in Slovakia has taken a turn. It really hasn't yet, but today we have got a couple new items on our list, some of them recommended by our new friends, and some of them were already on our list that we hunted down. And so today we're gonna hop on the road, try to get over to a couple more spots. Our time is winding down in Slovakia. Even though we just got here, we are headed to Bratislava to meet up with some friends. And so we managed to find a couple cool things. Come on, guys, we need some positive vibes to kind of pull this thing out here in Slovakia. So let's go turn this frown upside down.
We just caught a glimpse of 2 deer popping into the tree line as soon as they saw us. But I'm gonna call it a good omen.
Curt spotted them.
Yep.
They were a little bit darker brown.
And they're big.
And than normal, well, than deer we're used to seeing. I don't know what a normal deer is,
Yeah.
so.
But anyway, we spotted 2 deer first thing this morning. It's gonna be a good day. So we drove about 2 hours through some rural towns, through some industrial areas. We saw like 100 deer in bunches of different places. Never anywhere we could pull off and try to film them. But we've made it to this cute little town. I'm gonna put the name of it on the screen. And it is definitely special because of its houses. Let's check it out. Čičmany is a traditional folk village here in Slovakia. It shows up for the first time in written history way back in the 1200s. But there are a lot of different thoughts behind who actually founded this village. The most common thought on that is that it was some Bulgarians that were running from the Turks and set up this little spot for a sheep farming village. Somewhere along the way, they started using oils to treat the wood that they were using to build their homes. That eventually would cause the wood to turn this dark brown, almost black color. Then they would use clay to paint around the bottom of the house, around the roof line, and around the windows. This was to help keep water from penetrating the home. When a homeowner would discover damage to any of the wood on the home, they would patch it with that same white clay. Now, somewhere over time, they switched from using the clay to using a locally sourced lime, which was also white. Now, around 250 years ago, the story goes that a local woman was making some lime patches to some damaged wood on her home when she decided to give it some character. No one knows exactly who this woman was, but her artistic flair caught on, and eventually all of the homes in this little sheep farming village were decorated with all of these fun geometric shapes. Now, most of us would want these shapes to have some meaning, but in actuality, they are all for the most part just decor. The birds, however, do symbolize fertility. You will also find these geometric shapes stitched into the clothing from the past as well. And this village has become such a symbol for Slovakia that in years past, you will find these same geometric shapes on some of the Olympic uniforms. In the late 1900s, there was a huge fire that swept through the village that, along with World War I, left all but 3 of the traditional homes destroyed. But in the mid-1900s, a Slovakia architect set about to save the village. With fundraising and some help from the government, he offered the village residents the money they needed to rebuild their homes. But they could only have the money if they agreed to rebuild in the traditional way. And that is why this cute and historical little folk village still stands here today. It's a great road trip stop, and make sure you spend a little time at the museum, which has been helping to preserve the history of this area since the late 1960s. What a really cool step back into history. So we're walking across the street now to get a look in a different house. And I have to tell you, Paul, who works here, has been amazing at just giving us tons and tons of really cool information. But he's a little camera shy, so you just get to hear his voice, but he has been amazing.
Now, 3 different surnames, so 2 brothers with their wives lived in there, 2 completely foreign families in here. And the way it happened, or the reason it happened, was in 1907 there was a fire which destroyed the central village. Many people, including these, lost their houses. And these families were too poor to build a new house, to build their respective new houses. So eventually they just made a deal. They pooled all the resources they had, money, materials, and they built one common house for all those families. So that's why you had foreign people living in one house. Now, I don't think it mattered that much, however, because 90% of the time you spend outside working, taking care of your animals, tilling your field, you know, harvesting, fixing a roof, etc., etc. You put the wood in there, set it on fire, you close the whole thing. Now, the wood burns out and all the concrete, the air, everything basically heats up. You open the hell and you take this goose wing to sweep out all the ashes and any embers that are left, you put on the sides. And then you take all the bread that you created, all the dough, and you put it inside and you close the whole thing. So now all the embers and the accumulated heat bake the bread from all sides. It's like pizza, basically.
Yeah.
This is how people used to do it. And they usually did it once a week in large quantities.
So cool. All right. What a cool little town, huh, guys? So we have left the little museum, but Paul told us that we could come up here and there was a vending machine where we could get some cheese, and it's some of the best cheese in all of Slovakia. So we're gonna check this out. And I think we may park right here in this town. We're still figuring that out.
So this is good cheese, huh? Look at this. It's like a string cheese.
Oh.
64. It's 64.
Ah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just like that. We have finally used
Thank you so much.
a vending machine here in Europe, and the lady is very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Perfect. Wow, look at that. We got some cheese. All right, we were in here to get some cheese, and Snow decided she liked the little designs on the building, and she wanted a souvenir, so we're going to get a nice little shirt.
And you'll see it in a minute, but it has a heart on it, for my heart. It's rare that I buy something, guys, because we don't have a lot of room in the van, but I could use a new t-shirt, changing it up a little bit. And I really do love the little designs on this building, all these buildings, and the story behind it's pretty cool too.
All right, so I was out walking Čičmany around this beautiful town. I came back, and there was a crowd gathered around the van. And it turns out one of them's from Michigan. What's your name?
Linda.
Linda, and she hosted, are all of you or some of you?
Just me.
Okay, hosted as an exchange student in Michigan, and now she's come to see him. So can you guys tell me what your names are?
My name is Nicola, but shortly Nikki.
Nikki?
My name is Richard.
Richard?
Eva.
Eva?
And Martin.
And Martin. So nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, enjoy your stay.
Thank you. You too.
So this little town of Čičmany, I don't know, Čičmany is what we're going to
Čičmany.
call it, has helped Slovakia take a little bit of a turn. It still has paid parking, but it is $2.50, so €2.50 for an hour. You pay online with an app, plenty of room. Now it's not season, but I am sure you can find parking here at any time. And it is also €8 for an entire 24 hours. So we're going to ride up here to this bigger parking lot and see if that's a place we could spend the night. And at the very least, we're going to make lunch there. But this is putting a little bit of a better shine on Slovakia.
Yeah, for sure.
Good job to this little town. And Paul at the museum, who was awesome.
Yeah, he really helped this place make the turn.
He really did, yes. Let's go see what this other parking spot looks like and decide if we're going to sleep here or just eat here.
So the cheese we got, it's like almost like a little string cheese. So you can see, you can unroll it there, and then you can take it and you can just pull it apart. And it's so good. Almost like a mozzarella, but very buttery, tasty. Honestly, it's like Oaxaca cheese in Mexico.
Oh, it is. It's got a little bit more flavor to it. A little sharpness at the end.
Good.
You using it in our lunch?
Yep.
So Curt spotted some deer starting to come out of the edge of the trees onto this nice green grass. Must be supper time. So he's hopped out. He's gonna walk over there and see if he can get a shot of these things. Now earlier we could see a mama and a baby way up on the slopes here. If you look over here, we're parked in a little ski slope, little ski resort, local small one parking lot. So in the wintertime, there'd be people right up there skiing on that mountain. But up top, we had spotted some deer. But they were too far away. This one's a little closer. Maybe he'll be able to give y'all a nice look at them. And it's definitely baby deer time. We've seen lots of baby deer. We just haven't been able to share them with you yet. Let's see what Curt can get. Good morning. We had a peaceful night at, I'm going to call it the deer watching campsite, because there were little deer all over those ski slopes. And we have gotten an early start this morning. We are driving about 2 hours towards the capital city of Bratislava, which is where in a couple of days we're going to meet our friends. But if you back up, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago,
When we first got into Austria.
yeah, we were coming down a steep mountain and we burned up our brakes. And we got them worked on, we got them safe, but their recommendation was that we needed to do a little bit more work on them within the next couple of months. So our plan for today is to find a place that can give us a brake inspection, kind of get a second opinion, see if we do need to do some more work on the brakes or if they're okay. And that's where we're headed now. And it has been a pretty drive this morning so far. So I'm happy to report that Slovakia is in good standing with us now after the rough start. So let's go get these brakes looked at and then get on with the rest of our traveling around here. Well, we have driven all over this place, gone to several different brake shops, and as our luck has been here in Slovakia, things did not go well trying to find a place for the brakes. But we have some backup plans that
If it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all.
But show y'all a little activity that's going on in the van that is not normal. And it is us packing up a lot of stuff, because this is where we're gonna leave y'all for this video. But we're moving out of the van. Yes, we are. You'll have to tune in to the next video to see what's going on. We will see you guys in a few days. And don't worry, the kitties are going with us. Cheers, guys. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys.